Everybody, and welcome to the show. Fireball Friday night is in full effect. We got the fireball loaded up and we're going to shoot it off. So, I don't have, I guess, a whole bunch to talk about, but what I do have to talk about, we're going to talk about. So, first off, a little update as far as just the channel. Going fishing tomorrow, rain or shine, hopefully not too much rain. Going down, meeting up with Charles, going to go fishing, try out some of our new baits. So I've kind of piled up. These are going in also, but I've kind of just overstuffed my day box because my plan is to take just this box and then maybe my chatterbait box and then a few of my rods out in the boat in case I don't want to load all the tackle to get it wet, kind of thing. Depends on what the weather, what it's looking like, but it looks like it could be rain off and on tomorrow and then throughout the whole entire weekend, right? Sunday and Monday too. So gonna try to get out and fish as much as we can, but if not, we don't. But I was going to show you and talk about my computer. Well, I had a meltdown, and the computer had a meltdown because I smashed it. My laptop is no more. I got to get a new computer. So I got footage of me testing some of these. I was trying to get through my computer, and it just wouldn't go. If you guys have watched some of the little 10-minute, 3-minute, 5-minute clips, that was because I couldn't get my video editor to work. Then I just couldn't get my computer to work. So I got those out, and then I don't know what to do. So I'm going tomorrow, going to film with the GoPro, and I got to go buy a new computer. May do that when it's raining and I can't be out fishing. But I went to Casting from the Bank, and I tried this bait out. So if you guys remember right, let's talk about this one first. I made this. I just took a copy of the, I don't know if it's called Grass Puzzle or Grass Piece or whatever, but the Japanese one that is kind of not really a spinnerbait, and it's hard to call. It's definitely not a chatterbait, but I guess you could call it a bladed jig because it's a jig. And oh look, it's got a blade on it, a couple blades. This one does. So this is kind of a copy of that bait, kind of made up my own way. This is a knockoff of knocked off and a knockoff copy thing. So it's a SV3 knockoff that I turned into the grass piece knockoff. So I was fishing it, and it's like you can feel it a little in the rod, but it doesn't even really honestly feel like a chatterbait. It's probably the closest thing. It kind of feels like a crankbait. It kind of has this, you can feel it moving the rod, but it's not really a chatter or whatever. But anyway, it was working pretty good. So I went back to the drawing board, and I created a black one because my spinnerbait black and blue game is horrible. So I got this black and blue one rigged up. Now I'm going to try it tomorrow without the weight. I threw a few of the little split shots in this box, and I just crimped them on with my needle nose, which I'll have with me. That reminds me, I got to put a pair of needle nose and my scissors in this day box. But anyway, and this thing works like this. I'm going to try it without, but if it seems funky, then I will add that on it, just because I think it helps it aim it, in the right direction, because this starts up pretty fast and was working pretty good. So I basically copied the same thing. I changed a little bit of the angle just to try it, but I could always just hold it and bend it exactly the way this one is if it's kind of weird. So I've actually got it angled down just a hair more. But I'm going to try that. And then I have a completely different brand that I rigged up. And same thing, I got a couple of those split shots actually. I may have to add that on there. But this is one of those cheap ones you can get at Walmart. And I bent it, angled it a little bit, left the blade on the front, and it clears it. This clears so if a fish hits it, it should be able to get hooked up. I may have to tweak that one a little bit more, but I'm going to try both of those along with this one. And then I think I may have already showed you guys this other one. But this is a knockoff of the rum blade from Keytech, but then I just added this blade to the back to also make it almost a knockoff of that guy that's making the custom one. This thing looks like a seashell kind of deal, and I'm going to try that one tomorrow. This I tried, and it for as big as that tail looks, it just barely, I don't know. I'm going to try. I was using it in a place where nothing was really biting. So I'm going to try it tomorrow, but I'll be honest, it may not last long, because another thing is I feel that the plastic doesn't really seem to, I don't think it's going to hold up that well. So basically how I know that is I cast pretty hard once and it let the bait slide down. So I mean, I could glue it on kind of thing. If you guys remember right, I cut that down enough to where, right, it basically fits on there. And I was hoping this would, basically make a swim jig shake enough that you don't need to do anything else. And it might, but underwater footage, I tried to get a little bit of it. I don't know. I'm not overly impressed, but I am going to try it around where I know there's fish and just see if they'll eat it or not. And I do have like 2 of those rigged up. So I rigged up another one just on this bluegill jig. That's our dirty jig. Just tried on a regular jig. So I got a couple of those rigged up in case you haven't watched any of the other videos. So I have 2 more to try, and I don't know if that thing's going to work or not, but we're going to try that. And what I want to talk about is the fact, I think it was Josh, J Peace, that mentioned just get the core tackle swim jig. It'll do what you're talking about, right? So then I went and watched Matt Steffen fishing, and guess what? Hey, that's the kind of swim jig I want that does all its own stuff. I just want to be able to reel it, maybe give it an extra little twitch here and there, but I want it to have some action on its own. Dean's Bass, and you just now got your chatterbaits? How long ago did you order them? Now the Guggen clickbait, it is basically this. The Guggen clickbait is something close to that. Like, I don't know. I've got the Slobber Knocker knockoffs. I don't plan on messing with the Guggen deals or whatever, but these I already have, and it seems so easy to make, so I made this one. And the first time I made it, I didn't bend this right, and this slid and hit that, so I didn't try any further. And it, I don't know, a couple weeks later, I finally converted it to that, and it should be fine now, because, and I think it actually has and it may be just because I added this to it, but I was going pretty fast, and it doesn't want to ride up like a normal chatterbait. That you start going a little faster, it wants to lift, to where I felt this one, it kind of stays down for no heavier than that bait is, and subtle. So if you're looking for like something with a little bit of speed, but has some, and it totally, like, this whole thing, like, it moves the whole bait. It looks pretty good to me. I don't know what the fish will think. Where I was fishing, it really wasn't any fish to be had, so to speak, but I'm interested. So I made an order at Tackle Warehouse. So I had already had in my cart, I had the Core Tackle shimmy rig, I think it's called the Ozark rig, which is basically for like creature style baits. I've had some of the dirty jigs underspins for my little bitty, swim bait game deal, right? These little dudes, little 275s and stuff. I had some of that in my cart. Anyway, I ended up, right now they're 10% off kind of deal. I think total was just over $100. I got a bunch of different little knick-knack paddywhack stuff to try out that I hadn't necessarily, tried yet. So I'm hurrying up, getting everything ready to go with Charles tomorrow. I am not taking the rod I just got from Rogers, the other Lose. So the other Lose signature, I'm leaving it behind. The Dobbins is staying behind. But I'm going to try to get all the others out and fish those with the little swim baits and that kind of stuff. I also want to talk about some of the prices on AliExpress too, but So I dug out, if you guys remember, I've talked about it before, this was my favorite color, or not was, still is, my favorite color of these knockoff SV3s. So I have like 4 of these. I brought one out brand new to try it with just the tail again. And the only, so I have, I think, 2 more brand new ones, and then the old one that is still working good. I cut these off and I just put a swim bait on the back. And then this is the only color I have in this one, and I'm like, I probably need to order a couple more, but I need to just go fish it and see if I even like it, first of all. Because it's kind of a chartreusey, I think, I don't know. So anyway, I'm going to fish both of these tomorrow, along with this guy, which I rigged it up, and guess what? I have yet to actually ever throw this one. So that's one I took that was a fire tiger, and we made it into a bluegill type deal, and I just never got around to testing it out. So Charles is wanting to get on, hopefully we're hoping to get on a topwater bite, because, you know, if it's overcast, raining off and on, and stays cloudy and overcast, the topwater bite could be going like for, you know, the whole day kind of deal. Could be going for the whole weekend if you can stay out in the cooler, you know, wet weather. But I think spinnerbait should work, so that's what I'll be trying, along with our other little, somewhere I got my other little, this little dude. Now I put, I don't know where they're at in there, but I've got a couple of the regular, these little Pond Magic Booyahs, and I rigged one up like Beeble style. I'm going to get him out tomorrow, so I'm definitely going to try this stuff for sure. I don't know how long I'm going to put into it. I'm going to try to put it together in 1 or 2 little 10-minute videos, so when I do get a computer, I can slap those on. But then I'm hoping I get a computer that'll let me put in DaVinci Resolve, and I'll start back to my normal, you know, boring 40-minute bass fishing videos, but I can put all the content in there, fish catches and all that kind of stuff. What else was I going to talk about? So let me put these up. These are definitely going to go and get on the water and try. All of these newfangled, made-up baits are getting wet. They're getting wet tomorrow. We're probably going to get wet. Oh yeah, Charles picked up himself and me a tackle box. I got to give him the money back for it tomorrow. So I'll start going through my tackle and see what I want to put in that box. Oh, I might get back out with these. I just briefly tried these yesterday, and I'm still not impressed. I can't make myself get impressed with these. And I shared the link to one of you guys that said that they were out a lot of the colors, but I got, I don't know, 6 or 7 different colors of these kind of baits, and I tried this one briefly, and I tried a green pumpkin yesterday briefly, you know, just, and I might try them like a true free rig, but I just had them with just a bullet weight, just a, not very heavy, but, you know, wasn't pegged or anything. But I briefly threw that a little bit yesterday, and no takers, and at George Owens anyway. So I got those thrown just over here in the spot to where I'm going to get them back out and try them at some point tomorrow. I don't think I'm going to even try these dudes ever again. I just never, those came in the package, and I just don't like them. You could kind of, if you had to in a pinch, throw them on like for a trailer, but not a fan of those, whatever they are. I forget what the name of them is. Yeah. So we got all our rods. I did switch. Oh, I know what I was going to briefly talk about. Where did it go? I got them all bound up and ready. It's already bound up and ready to go. So anyway, be looking forward to it. So what I basically did was I took all that crazy line. If you guys remember, I just got that BB1. I took all that line off, and it did have a little bit of braid at the bottom already, like a 50 or 60 pound gray braid. I put straight 20 braid to a 20 pound leader, but I took this power handle like thing, the handle it came with, off, and put the Crazy Lou's Lady handle on it. So that's on the Super Destroyer. We'll be trying it out tomorrow. Let me read some of these comments. 3.5 weeks ago. Yeah, it can take a while. Yeah, the slobber knock. Well, here's the thing: the slobber knockers I think are very good, but guess what? I've never bought a regular slobber knocker or been around anybody that has one, so I couldn't tell you what a regular slobber knocker does. So they're definitely a way more mild thump. These dudes right here, I got all the colors wherever they are at. How did I put these? How, when, where, and why. Anyway, yeah, the slobber knocker, that's a knockoff. Just by looking at them, I would swear that the slobber knocker that's not a knockoff, the true slobber knocker, has a little more freedom to move than what the knockoffs do, but I could be wrong. But they definitely work, and I have caught fish with them. Like in the cold water, I think maybe where I would pick to try a slobber knocker over. I think I got them in here. Where did I put my natural colored? So I don't know. I've got so many chatterbaits. Here we go. Here we go. Anyway, I got them, I guess, color coordinated, but I don't think I've ever had any luck with that one. I can't say they're good, bad, or the other. They do catch fish because I have caught fish on the little bit I have thrown them, but I'm definitely not a fan of those over Z-Man Originals, jackhammers, or the, so on and so forth. I was going to try to, if I could find it, the one that I could show you the color I do like, my favorite color, but I can't find it. Why do I have so many bluegill chatterbaits? My God. Anyway, I need to get rid of some of these chatterbaits. Some of these, once I start going through the boxes, some of these chatterbaits, I don't know where I'm going to sell them at, but they're going to be for sale. I don't know what I did with those other slobber knockers. I've got like 4 other colors. No idea where they're at. Here's one. Here, nope, that ain't one. I didn't want it. Here's one. Here, maybe. There it is. There's one buried. That's a good color, I think, anyway. This one, and there's another one with a little more white. It's almost like this is flipped around, and I think it's got a silver blade. And those aren't bad colors, but I don't know. I don't plan on buying any more, that's for sure. I'm just going to use these for if I felt they needed something more subtle. But anyway, I know what I was also going to mention. So Charles is going to be doing, I'm going to be doing testing, but then I'm also breaking out the big dog stuff. So if you guys haven't seen me I took it out once, the whole box, but I didn't even do any of it. But I'm breaking out the big dog, and I am going to throw some my swim bait stuff. So I made sure I put this all back just the way I had it, and I like it. That's the HLC on the Tequila Baccarat, and it's fired up, ready to go. 40-pound braid to a 30-pound P-line original leader. And let's go through, just so those of you that are new to the channel, I'm going to give you a brief rundown. Not every bait, but almost every one of these swim baits I'm going to show you is available on AliExpress. Now, they may still be hard to find now. This was over 2 years ago that all these were bought. But I would think that they're probably going to be a little more money right at the moment, but I would think all of them are able to be purchased still. Maybe not. Not this frog. If you haven't watched the video, I was testing this one. It was a funny video because I cast and I had a backlash and both these legs went poof, shot off the frog. So now they got just a drop of glue on them, so they won't do that. And you got a spare set. But I like the idea of that frog, but I got him in here with these because I like the idea of swim baits. But honestly, I feel, well, one of two things. Like, I'm not saying you can't go out any day and throw this around long enough and you might get something to hit it, but I feel that you kind of need them on, like, fired up, and then that's when I try to, like, throw these. So, like, you know, rainy conditions, storms coming in, early morning, afternoon, you know, kind of deal is when I really start throwing these and have more confidence in any of these. But I have caught them. I think it was this guy right here. I caught like a 3.5 or 4 pounder. Heat of the day, throwing it around some mossy, gunky areas and caught them. But these are like the KO knockoffs, any of these like this that you can flip the tail around. This is a guy that is in one of the videos. I caught maybe my biggest swim bait fish to date. Wasn't a huge one, but actually made this bait look small, so it's a pretty nice bass, really. And I just originally bought that color because I think it was like a 2-pack deal of whatever, but that color actually does work pretty good. And then different sizes of them. So that's probably the majority of the bait that I have in here is like those are knockoff of it. And I don't know why I got so many bass ones. I just feel bass are like cannibals, and like when times get tough, they will eat their own. And then I also have some of my baits that are, you know, big gaudy looking things. Like this is I believe a Charbelot's knockoff that I had so much orange on the belly I just scratched it all up. I tried to make it look like an old beat up bait, and it's only caught like 3 to 5 fish, and every one of them was caught after I beat it up to make it look like it was an old bait. But that bait does work. This little bait right here does work. Now this is a 6 cents. That little bait does actually work somewhat, but that was an AliExpress deal, not too expensive. This guy I haven't even thrown yet. That was the one we got from AliExpress. Like you can paint them or whatever, but I'm just going to go out and throw it like that and try it. Just haven't even made it to that option point yet. Or that guy, briefly just test casted him, haven't really fished it. There's the one, if you go way back and you watch when Emily was fishing with us, she caught her, maybe her personal best, or probably the biggest she's ever caught when she, you know, that we've recorded, was fishing with that little, you know, one treble hook swim bait that she caught him on. I've got 2 of those. That's the color she caught it on, but I think to me that's the more realistic looking one. These things just kind of snake around, but they will get bit. This dude, I don't know if I've actually caught anything other than maybe a dink or 2, but this bait looked pretty cool. I still like this bait, but no. And if you remember, at the beginning of this season, I ordered these nasty things. They came in, I still got them. I have not even thrown them yet. I can't make myself throw them. I want to say maybe I picked up this one. It was one of my most recent purchases, but I haven't even had this box out. Like what you see me doing right now is the most I've even gone through and looked through it. And then these are like the Strike King knockoffs. I believe these come from AliExpress. But Strike King brought it back out. They had it out for a while, then they discontinued it. Then swim baits got popular, and they're like, oh, people were wanting to track those down, so they brought it back out. I think it's still available. But I have caught fish on this guy, that one. Like good fish that were like there's somewhere on a video. I don't know what the link is, where it is, but then this guy right here. So probably those 3 baits are the most memorable. They're sticking out to me that I remember catching were nice catch, nice hits, and good fights and that kind of thing. But I have not thrown, like, I'm not a huge person to throw swim baits, like I mentioned. So what I'll probably do tomorrow while Charles is throwing topwater, I'll probably throw something, some of these, along with the big whopper plopper, that kind of thing. I'll probably throw the whopper plopper on the Super Destroyer, maybe probably the Super Destroyer. I may try out some of that. All my other ones, the Luz will handle it, Elite TI or the Signature Series, but maybe the yeah, I bet you I'll probably maybe the Poison Adrenaline. I think one of the last big bass I caught was on the Poison Adrenaline throwing the big whopper plopper. So anyway, this is going out. Going to get some of these, get them out, and just for the fun of and if it stays overcast and seems like we're getting bit, the bite's just kind of going where you never know when a big one will jump in. It may be one that I just throw all throughout, however long we end up fishing. But you guys know the deal. Once I hit that water, it's going to be hard to not throw a chatterbait if they're hitting chatterbaits. That bait needs to be thrown in the trash. That bait has like gotten lighter as it's set in there, but that's supposed to be purple haze, but the purple hazy part has turned almost white and it got smashed at some point. Put this back over here. These you can't like get anymore, I don't think. Finesse rugby jigs. So let me throw these back down there. I'm also going to try this guy. That's just one of those little finesse ones with just a Rage Menace. Just to see if I can. I've tried some different configurations. I've realized I bought that one and I hadn't even used it yet. So I got him out. But I've tried those PD choppers. Are not impressed. Not impressed with any of those so far. Oh, I still got that dude rigged up. I need to try him, I guess. Junebug. So yeah, Eugene was commenting about some of his colors or whatever, but you guys know the deal. I will be throwing, I'm probably going to break out a true, that dude I'm throwing in the trash. I'm not even going to use it. Well, actually that makes for a very good, that may make for a decent trailer. I'm leaving it right there for now. Who knows what I'm going to run into tomorrow. Oh, I'm looking right at it. So I went out, caught a fish on, caught one and then missed a very little. Like, I don't even think it was long this. So the Matt Shad definitely works. We went down to George Owens. The only thing I could get him to hit, I got the one fish in and then missed a little dink. And I think I had a little tap at one. But then I did manage on my, where'd he go? This dude right here was the first fish, because as soon as I got down there, I just started throwing chatterbait. That 3/4 ounce, that's the one I added a little bit of peanut butter and jelly to the bluegill, my peanut butter and jelly bluegill with the purple, because they'd been hitting the Junebug color. So that combo right there didn't take too many minutes to catch a bass. And then I tried this and caught one within another 5 minutes. And then I was there for an hour and a half testing and doing a little bit of fishing, never caught another fish. And there was a over 2 pounder. It looked like they're still spawning, like it was setting on the net. It was just I couldn't get. I just basically dabbled on my baby brush hog around it just to see if I could get it to hit that, and it wouldn't. But anyway, throw that dude there. I've got some plans on all these different baits to test, but I'm gonna try to go if it. Looking like the rain is going to let up enough. I may just have all my tackle loaded up, but I may just be working out of this box and my chatterbait boxes at first, and then I can always go back. The plan is to have all my stuff in the truck, but maybe not out in the boat getting wet if it's going to be very nasty. And this dude I just left out. That was another one I kind of rigged up, but I think it's a little too lightweight for this, so I'm going to probably take that blade off, rig up another one of those SV3 knockoffs. So I'm going to end this video. It's going to be a half-hour one because I got to finish getting other stuff ready for tomorrow. If you guys still want to look on AliExpress for stuff, there's still deals on stuff. Some of the stuff is still high. The SV3 knockoffs, I want to say if you get on there and look, you find them and then click on the find similar. I think you can get these for like $3.50 is the cheapest I found. $3.50, $3.80. They were only ever like $2.50 or $2.80. So you can find them for their $1 more than they were before all this tariff stuff and all the whatever stuff. So search around if you want the SV3 knockoffs. They're roughly the half-ounce version, maybe even the 3/8. They're not the heavier ones. If you want the heavier ones, you're SOL. And they're all like this they're the tandem, not the double willow. But the blades are very flimsy as far as they're lightweight and they give off good vibration. You can go pretty slow. Now what I'll probably do is think about adding a little weight instead of buying a whole nother 3/4 ounce for $12.99, because man, even for $3.50, under $4 a piece, and they will flat out catch you fish. I still can't justify buying the actual Mega Bass one yet, even to try to put it up against. Just like the B-Bowl, It's $20. The Super Break Blade. I just can't make myself buy these $20 baits that could literally be lost in one cast. Whopper Plopper, and then these guys. These, even though these don't float, it is hard. Like, and I better knock on wood. Hang on. It is your fault if you lose one of these because A, they're either going to bend or spit it out, so they're not going to, shouldn't break you off unless you did something dumb with your line. Or got your drag set too tight. You're usually fishing them in open enough water, like you're not going to get snagged on something. Now, occasionally, I will admit, you could throw them down around some brush. Some people do over the across the tops of submerged trees, certain things, but really, it's not impossible to lose. But the jerk baits are one of those baits that they just tend to stick around for a long time. Topwater baits, like this dude right here, I've had for years. So even though they're 15, 20, whatever that was when I originally bought them, I've only ever had two of this color, and I lost one, and I still have this one, and I still have a couple of other ones. So I'm not saying to go out and spend any money, you don't need to spend, but if you're going to spend money for a few high-end baits, topwater stuff, even like a Whopper Plopper, the big Whopper Ploppers, it is hard to lose that bait. Like, I don't know that I've ever lost a full-size Whopper Plopper. I had them hang me up, and I had to go get it, and I could see it under the water, like you get a fish by wood, because it's a topwater bait, and they sometimes, if they dig down fast enough, they might stick you beside like a pillar of a dock or on a submerged deal, but it's usually only within a few feet, and you look down and see where you're, it's hung up on the wood, and either reach down or push a oar or something in there and knock it loose or whatever. So I've never lost the big Whopper Plopper. I think I've lost one of the little ones I was throwing on a lighter line, and just that kind of thing. What I would not buy, and I need to stop doing it even on the LV500s. First of all, like spinnerbaits, because literally you can. Spinnerbaits are just one of those baits. They probably wear out faster than any, non-soft plastic type deal. Even though, like a chatterbait, I'll be honest, the jackhammers, they last forever. I still, I don't know if they wear out. Like the ones when back in the however many years ago when I first bought the 3 or 4, I think Brew Tank ended up with one of them, and I think I still have the other 3 that I bought. I think I only ever bought 4, and they still work. The hooks are still sharp. Most of your Z-Man original chatterbaits. Now, when you get in the little ones, those will rust out, but spinnerbaits and then some of these other Japanese baits, I'd be leery of spending too much money just for that reason. As of right now, if I had to call it, and then I'm going to end this video. I tried to end it within a half hour. I couldn't. The best bait, truthfully, going, because you can go to Rogers Sporting Goods all day long and get them, and then you can find deals on these. The little Mini Max is still one of the hardest baits to beat. The 3/8, well, you can get it in half, but I think the 3/8 is the best for it. Or you can get the quarter if you want to, for the real super shallow. You can't hardly beat the 1/4 ounce, but like the 3/8 ounce, Rogers sells them for $7.99. Awesome hooks. You can catch little, big, whatever. Hard to beat. Now the knockoffs, but take the knockoffs aside from AliExpress, they're still the best bet. Any of the knockoffs you can get for under $5. Even if you want to cut the skirt completely off and go buy your own skirts, they're only $1 a piece. So these are, I think, I was getting these as cheap as $2.50. Now I think they're $4, but still at $4, and you put a $1 skirt on, you're at a $5 bait that is just pretty much going to get you as good, close to, I'm sure in the long longevity of thing, they will not last as long as a jackhammer, but they'll last a long time. They'll outlast any spinnerbait I'd almost bet on. So yeah, I'm still, like, I think the Evos are cooler, and when you can get a deal on the Evo chatterbaits, I'd say that may be the way to go. But the Mini Maxes, like, as long as Rogers does them, they're only $7.99 instead of $9.99 for the Evos. I don't think the Evos will get bit any more than what these dudes will. Now, lastly, before I leave, if any of you are thinking about it, because every time I mention something and where it's at, one of you guys goes and buys it, because all of those rods that I mentioned on Hookup Tackle, they're gone. which good thing I didn't need any of that stuff. So I thought about doing it, but I already have over 100, like almost 150 chatterbaits. I come across, and some of you probably already know about this. You can go on, not this one exactly, but you can go on eBay and pick up like 12 packs of certain color. They're usually 5/8 or 3/4 ounce thunder crickets for $60. So that puts you at $5 a thunder cricket. So they had, oh shoot, I want to say mouse was on there. I was going to buy that one because I actually kind of like that color, and at $5 a piece for a thunder cricket, that's pretty good buy. And then they had bruiser, I think, and these were 5/8 because this is a 5/8. I like the way the 5/8 goes. Like I compare their thunder cricket 5/8 to like the AliExpress Jackie Hammer half ounce. So I like those for that one. They're a little deeper. You're just going to go a little slower, and you want it to just get down. You're not necessarily, you just want to have a slow thump. You're not worried about being all twitchy and jerky and jivey. A touch more on the subtle side, and a bait that weighs a little more, just to get it down a little more. So I almost bought those. I just can't justify. I have all these other chatterbaits. Like I got 2 boxes full of them, but as I did buy, so in that order coming from Tackle Warehouse, I have the bone half ounce gold blade thunder cricket coming, and the gold 5/8 ounce, I believe 5/8 ounce spot remover coming, because they were like $7 and $8 for the gold bladed one. So I'm like, a couple dollars more, I'll get those to go along with. That'll put me having like I think I got a black and blue half ounce. I got this dude in 5/8. I've got the other one that I made into its own color. Did I load him up? And I think he's in my other box. But I got 2 of the 5/8 half ounce, and then I'll have another half ounce and a 5/8 in more of the white colors, because I'm trying. The thunder crickets aren't bad. I don't know if I like them as well as I do. I think I like them maybe as well, or probably better than the Z-Man originals, but I don't know if I like them as near as well as like the knockoffs or a jackhammer type bait or the Evos. But they do have a little more. Their sound, they're like a little more, I think, toned down. So there's at times, I think, to where they may be what they're wanting more than that hard thump of a jackhammer, or the knockoffs, or the Z-Man original, because the Z-Man original and the half ounce thumps pretty good too. And of course the big blade really thumps. All right, guys, I'm gonna get out of here. Keep it real, keep it short. Oh wait, no, can't leave. Michael's on there now. He's gonna be like, dude, you say you're leaving all the time. Big no chatter, huh? Oh yeah, you just reminded me of something. Yeah, okay, first of all, those Jackie Hammers, all those almost everything's still available on AliExpress. Just go to AliExpress, type in Chatterbait, and start looking. You're going to see one that's like a white and chartreusey one. That's going to be the Nobi one. You're going to see various versions of the other ones. That'll be the Jackie Hammer ones, and it won't really specify Jackie Hammer. And then these, I'll give you a rundown real quick. These are also still available. I want to say last I looked, they were like $9. These are kind of a copy of the Super Break Blade, except they don't have the bottom deal, I think. Now these, I've caught a fish. These also have a kind of a mild thump, little lighter wire hook. So if you like the idea of fishing the chatterbait on a lighter rod, they may be more up your alley. You can also find these on there. You just punch in Chatterbait and then just start doing your own little like searching around, and you will come across them. That's another Nobi. The Jackie Hammers. The Jackie Hammers. Let me get those out. They're still there. I've seen them all. Like they're all. Almost every Chatterbait has went up $1 or $2 in some cases. Like those ones that are like the Super Break Blade were $6. Now they're $9, so they went up $3, and they were the most expensive ones of the bunches anyway. But then the Jackie Hammers, I haven't even checked these Slobber Knocker knockoffs. I don't even know what they are because I don't plan on buying any more. But where's one at? That's the big blade. And I think Rogers has these for $9.99. Everywhere else like $12.99. I think they're $9.99. There's a Slobber Knocker. So there's our other Thunder Cricket that I painted the head on. And then somewhere in here, I have my other. So these, if you guys are wondering what is there any method to the madness? Not really, but these are sort of my bigger, heavier. So these are like 1/2 and 3/4 and or 5/8 and that stuff. So there's a true jackhammer that I changed out the skirt. Still has the old blade beat up. There's the one. I need to get this out tomorrow. I need to fish that dude too. That's the Rapture Omega Custom Tackle Rapture Jig Shellcracker color. I need to get. I've only thrown him once briefly this season. For some reason, I don't know if I'm kind of forgetful because. Oh yeah, Charles. Where are you at, Charles? Charles was tearing me up, or started to, with basically what I'd given him. So Charles, that is your answer, buddy. That's what Charles was like tearing him up on the other day too. And I need to break this dude out again. That's just a Z-Man original, and I believe that's 3/8 of an ounce. But if they're in that crazy mood, if they're hitting hard and good, you'll want to go from these lighter colors. You'll want to go to that bright stuff. So anyway, here's a couple things, and I'm going to talk about the other baits. But give me a second here. I got on a sidetrack deal. So if you guys remember, it's still a bait that I when I do get it out and try it, I think it's got way too many skirt. Like it's just too much skirt. I need to rip half of those out. But that's my black and bluegill that doesn't get bit. This is honestly, I made one up of what I used to use. So either Bayou Craw or Cajun Craw this was a Z-Man Chatterbait color on their perfect skirt. That is what I used to use. That used to be my favorite Chatterbait skirt, and I paired it up with the Smalley Beaver in a Donkey Punch. And to me, that was a crawdad enough color, and I would throw that. So that was my favorite, like for a natural one, and I was trying to imitate crawdad in my mind. But then I also did know that they could at any time hit white or white and chartreuse. So I had like just white Chatterbait with, I don't even remember what I would put on as trailers on those. And then a white and chartreuse with, I want to say I just used, it wasn't worms, and it wasn't these guys. I hadn't bought these yet, these Bass Pro ones. But the main one, honestly, that I had confidence in was that, with that Smalley Beaver Donkey Punch. And then I went to, I think I just started fishing some of the bluegill, and then black and blue, and then black and blue gold blade for like a whole year. But anyway, side note, I still got these. I haven't even really tried. I kind of, they're stuck all together. I kind of made a few deals. That's the one skirt that I can't seem to get it to hit anything. Where did it go? So in the process of making stuff, I'm guessing I must have made, where did they go? Got them all mixed up now. Hang on, I was going to show you guys something that I didn't even remember doing, but I guess I did it. If I can find it. Where'd it go? I don't know where it went, but there's that other Slobber Knocker. If you guys remember right when I started this show earlier, here it is. I know, I got a mixed up mess over here. There are so many bluegill chatterbaits. You guys know the deal. We bought like 6 different colors. That is a good color too in the Slobber Knocker. Not a bad color. But yeah, this is why I'm taking the chatterbait box out tomorrow and doing them. There's the kind of the version. That's the original shell cracker I originally bought. I threw on that other Hollywood cross skirt on. So let's look at this. I don't remember doing it. Maybe I may have even showed you guys that I did it on the channel, but at some point I took This is the one that we had the best luck that one day, the old school gill. But at some point, I took old school gill and then added these to it because that one I tied on by hand, right? And so I made this. If you look, the old school gill, the way it comes, there's not really any blue. It just kind of has that green pumpkin and then the purple flashy stuff. And then this one has the blue. So I guess I basically already forgot that I did this and tied it all up, and it's just been sitting here buried. I spotted it earlier tonight, and I'm like, man, I need to get that dude out and fish him. And before I lose him again, he's going into the day box, and I will probably put, ain't gonna lie, it'll probably end up with one of these full-size Rage Menace green pumpkin, purple, and gold flake. More than likely. So anyway, yeah. All right, I got to get out of here for sure, guys. Let me read some comments. Oh, no, my gosh. All you guys are talking. Oh, never tried any of those underspin jigs. That's another thing I need to talk about. My gosh. You guys are never going to let me get any sleep tonight. Where'd they go? So I got out, not overly impressed with either of these yet. Now these, where'd they go? So if you remember right, I got these from Rogers, and some of you comment that they kind of do weird stuff. Now what I was having happen to me is I'd cast it out, and when I cast real far, this would end up wound up, and it would ruin my cast. But if I just kind of lobbed it out where I could see it and then reeled it back, I thought they looked like this one right here. I've kind of got that shorter. I kind of took I believe that may be only a 3.3, but it may be a 3.8 I cut down. But that dude wobbles like crazy, and this blade spins, and it looks good. But like I had the other one I had rigged up to, wherever it's at, and I feel like it's kind of easy for this blade to get in here and get like fouled and fadangled up into the hook. So I don't know if I need to, like stop it right before it hits the water. I was trying that, but it definitely, it did it to me a few times. I'm like, I don't like the idea of that. But so far it's not a no, but I don't know if I'll be buying any more. I'm going to try those out tomorrow too. But then this dude, I don't know what I did with the ones I had rigged up. I thought that would maybe give me more of a wobble than it did. It's got a little shimmy to it, but I'm going to get it out tomorrow and try it. But so far, this is that first gin. I'm not overly excited as I thought I might be with their stuff, but I'm still not done. That's the first initial thoughts of like, iffy on that stuff. So let me finish reading comments. What is up, Michael? Green pumpkin shad is nice. Okay. Look at the legs on what boy? The frog? Yeah, purple haze is a good color. You got to watch because you go get like the zinkers in purple haze. Sometimes they'll come weird and not, in my opinion, they got off on the pour. Yeah, I was at Rogers Tuesday, I think. Because, yeah, they're closed on Mondays. I think Tuesday I ran up to Rogers. Dean's Bass and I have more Evo than the jackhammers, I think is what you're saying. Do they make a pink thunder cricket? I don't think they do. And I tried all the pink stuff. If you guys watched a few weeks, dude, I don't like anything pink except for the bubblegum TRDs is what I've really only ever really had good luck with. I have better luck with purpley stuff like purple haze, June bug, that kind of stuff once you get bigger than like the little bitty dude, the little bitty stuff. Like the pink, I've got them. I bought a pack from you guys remember, I bought some of them chatterbaits that were pink and all that, but what did I do? Every time I throw a bright pink like this, anything bigger than a true, you know, like TRD, I'm not saying you might not catch a fish, but it's not like they're attracted to that. I think for whatever reason, a little like, you know, basically half of a Cinco kind of thing, it just gets them there and then they'll hit it because it's not that menacing. But I don't even know what I did with all of them. But some of the pink chatterbaits, a lot of guys used to swear by, they claim the Zoom Super Flukes in that pink was good. In my opinion, no. Now the only color, I got some over here somewhere, just the spares. That before even the, and they unfortunately they don't make this anymore, but way before they even had the TRDs, right? I was getting these finesse worms in that morning wood, and I still have a few packs of these because it's that pinkish color with that little blue fleck stuff. These are money, but you can't get them anymore. They don't make them anymore. I've got a pack I carry with me just in case if I'm like I need to catch a fish, but I think I'm down to that pack, this pack, and then all these old ones that I've used that are some of them are a little straighter than the others. At some point I figure if I wanted to try to straighten them or whatever, they're actually still, you guys know the deal with the elastic, they're actually still in pretty good shape. They're just funky. I would think on a hot day you could stretch them a little bit, you know, straight, and then they would pop out. But I figured never get rid of those because of some of the bites I've been on to where that thing just caught fire on a, you know, shaky head is like lights out. That color right there, morning wood, which I call like a hot pink. I don't know, very good color. I don't know why they don't make it anymore, but they don't. You can get the same color roughly in a oh shoot. And so here's my two favorite colors while we're on colors. The Robo Worms, you know, colors are good, and they may be the first one that had it. Z-Man may copy them or whatever, but anyway. So here is a couple little, as you guys can look at this, and just from sitting there, how that color changed. Here's what it should look like. Purple Haze Zinkers. See how that's like a purpley color? And this thing just totally changed. And it was just sitting there, like all the color went out of it. But it stuck on other baits. There's other baits with little purple tinges on it. So I do have a couple packs of these sitting around. But if you look, some of these, not all Purple Hazes are created equal. I think Charles is one that likes them lighter, so I would trade him if he ever gets any light ones, but those are on the verge of being too light for me. But for whatever reason, this is really, I mean, it's really, let's face it, it is what it is. And I hate that saying. It's pretty much a June bug, more or less, that just has a lightish purple belly, right? Like a side to it. But that color, or this color, spray grass, is usually on fire, and this pack is about smashed, and it looks like I got two old ones and two new ones. But I'll be honest, that one worm right there, as new as it is, I bet you I could fish for a week on a good bite for those. They do last a long time. I don't know if that's my last pack or not. I think these are left. I think I have all of these are over here right beside me are actual doubles or triples, so the actual worms I have in my other package, and then I got some zinkers and some old junk. So anyway, yeah, let's see what we got going here. Electric Shad and the Evo. No problem. Super helpful stream. Really appreciate you for taking time to answer questions. Yeah, no problem there. I just, you know, BSing. Oh yeah, while we're on that subject, a lot of you guys, I haven't even bought any and tried them, you know, the spunk shad and all that kind of stuff. But I'll be honest, Charles will tell you too. I like trying other stuff. I still, to this day, don't think you can find a better trailer for a chatterbait than the zinkers. Now, not these necessarily, the shape they're in, But I'm talking when they get to the nastiest they're going to get. When they get so stretched out that they're like a whole different, they're so light and they just flake around. But I would swear, like the first time I went out, I was basically using one something like this on the back of Neo down here. And all the fish I caught, I think, were basically because of that trailer as much as they were the bait. Like, it just lets it move around. In my opinion, it lets these baits, like this one's not broke in yet. So I was kind of still using this one. But the bad thing about zinkers, if you leave them out, you're better off to use them for a second and then throw them back in the package until then. Once they get worn in like this one, I don't know if you can just see like what it just did. It just changed it. But it's a very flimsy, like lightweight, airy bait, because that's what it is. It's like got all this air in it now. All that salt's falling out. It's got all this air in it, and it doesn't take much. It's just back there, and that chatterbait is making it quiver and do whatever as you're reeling it. And it's so streamlined, it just flops around, does whatever. And it's one of the like lightest, freed up things you can put on it. Like unless you really wanted to cut down some of these other baits, right? So I know I'm going through swim-ons and then the kamikazes. I like the better not, don't leave that there. I like this guy, still one of my favorite things, just when they need that little bit of kick, because it lets it jump around. In my opinion, these still let it jump around about as well as what this bait does. But I think there's times when the bite gets super tough that this may have an edge, but honestly, they will always hit this. Because when Charles is out there fishing, and that one bait I showed you, that like peanut buttery looking one that I rigged one up, I think he had just June bug type zinkers on the back, just flat out, like it works. So I know you can go and get all this and that different stuff, but when it comes down to it, I don't know why you can still leave that on there. I gotta take that off. But that bait, I'll probably rig that up tomorrow on, look at this stretch. Ching. Oh, did you guys hear that salt go flying? Listen to this. That was one time with salt. I don't know if you guys can hear that. But when all that leaves and it just becomes this super airy, now I probably stretched it too hard, but it's still, you'd be surprised how many fish this will catch, probably 20, 40. But it's just so light now. And here's the thing, if you're fishing one of these as just a regular stick bait. So the people complain about zinkers, oh man, they get to whatever and they just want to float. Well, I was kind of like that too. Then I went, you know what? Here's the thing. All you do is you take this right here and say if the, the front, the back, or whatever, just take the worm, whatever it's hooked to. So say if it was hooked up, still on this, I mean, you could do the whole thing. But if you're struggling with the zinkers, for whatever reason, you want it to sink faster, more, say you got just a hook only, undo it from the end. You don't even have to take it off that. Stretch it out as far as you can underwater. So underwater, hold it under the side of the boat. Okay, pull it out, bring it back in. Pull it out, bring it back in like once or twice. You just filled it up, back up with water. So when you cast, don't like sling it, crazy hard, because then you just sling some of the water out. But just cast it out, and then it's going to do its. It may not. It's never going to sink as fast as when it was totally full of salt, but it will get it to sink again. More so than this, because once you do this, like I've done, like right now, that thing's probably going to float, and the 16th ounce won't even, like, this will be floating out of the water like a bobber. It'll take an eighth just to get it to pull it down, kind of deal, when they get all aired out, kind of thing. So they're just tricks you can use with these zinkers. If you guys can tell, it totally changed the color, and I think I made it a little bit longer. But right now is when it's in its perfect condition to cut that off. the whatever length you want, use it on the back of a Chatterbait. And if you guys can just tell by how just more limber and airy it made it, right? It's like this one's already kind of worn out, but see how they are in the front, before you do that. Once you get these things worn out, that's when you want to be, okay, I'm going to use them as trailers because that's when they shine. And then, regular, like right off the bat, out of the package, they're awesome just as a stick bait kind of thing, but it doesn't take long. It doesn't take 3 to 5 fish or so. They get a little whatever. You might want to hold them underwater, let them fill back with water, and keep using them like that. But then when you're about time you think they're worn out, which you normally have already lost a regular, Cinco or Ocho or the General or whatever, all the other, I forget what, Yums worm is, whatever. But yeah. The Zinkers are like hard to beat. My favorite Z-Man elastic bait for sure. The worms would be next, the finesse worms, but them Zinkers, man, just because you can use them on the backs of chatterbaits, you can use them as a shaky head, as a wacky rigged weightless. You can almost use them as like a soft jerk bait. They can just be used so many different ways. Yeah, the Zinkers, I'm telling you, the trick to Zinkers, let me just show you guys real quick. Or any elastic is what you use to get it to hook on. So for the worms and for the Zinkers, my favorite thing, which they don't really make anymore, but you can still get the VMC rugby jigs, but not the finesse. The finesse rugby jigs, I think, are a little lighter wire, so you can use it like 10-pound test or whatever, but you can still get the VMC, but you really literally just need something like this. EWG style with some sort of ball or football head or shaky whatever is what I like the best for them, but you don't have to have this either. What I started out using were these guys, and actually of all bait companies, these were through Bagley. I don't even know if you can still get these or not, but these were about the same light wire, but more like a straight shank, so you would rig the deal up here and just put it in, and these actually worked pretty good too. But then I also come across these, I think these are still VMC also, these half moons or whatever, and they're a little stouter, so you could get just a little bit. They're not a lot stouter. You get by with a little bit more of a line or rod. And these also work pretty good too. Most of these are more so for the worms. With the Zinkers, I recommend stick with the EWG style. There's more of a gap to let the worm get out of the way, in my opinion. Like I mentioned, you can get the finesse rugby if you can find them, and if not, just get the rugby jigs. I recommend a 16th ounce to start, but you need like a 16th, an 8th, and then probably a 3/16 or a quarter for when they do get fairly lightweight, and you're tired of stretching them, and you want them to use them as a shaky head, because in the minute they start stretching, they actually stand right up just like a shaky head worm, and you can fish them like that, and various other things. Plus, you can also use these to like fish your little baby brush hogs and stuff like that if you want to try them on light line or your smaller soft plastics. So yeah, I've kind of went away from these. This is all I used to use in the first however many. So I started out using whatever the ones, the little baits with the red eyes, and then the screw lock for regular shaky heads, but then your Zinkers won't fit on those, so the screw locks. So then I switched and I found these, and then I found these, and then I found this is actually the VMC rugby jig. If you can tell, it's a little different. Let me put those up. Then I found a finesse rugby jig, and I tried both. I found the finesse and the regular. So if you see that, this one's actually a lighter wire, sticks out a little more. And then, but the rugby jig, that's a rugby jig. It actually works good too. I just was going with these because I was using this for BFS. I was actually using my Cayenne Teton to set the hook, which it does no problem. Like almost like an ultralight will set the hook on that little light a wire. But this one it's kind of right there with it. It was just hard time getting, because I use snaps to go into the rugby jig is why, on a 16th ounce, is why I kind of went away, just stuck with the finesse rugby jig. But honestly, if you got a little more 10, 12 pound line, you probably want the rugby jig anyway. That's what I'd recommend. So anyway, that's it. That's it. That's a wrap. I'm out of here. Going fishing tomorrow. Wish me luck. We're going to need it. Dun, dun, dun. Dean's Bassin. You don't know my Chatterbait setup? You definitely must be new to the channel. I'm going to show it to you, then I'm going to bed. Hang on, I need a shot of Fireball for that. You guys, if you got them, smoke them. All right. Now, I'm going to show you two. And then I'm going to bed. So my favorite to date, Chatterbait, where are you at? Oh boy, my lord. Let me get done here. Then we're going to bed, boys. And then we're done. I'm going to show you while I'm tearing stuff apart. I might as well show you what I did with the whatchamacallit too. All right, so we're going to look at 3 rods, and it's all your guys' fault. I didn't do this. You guys brought this on. Wasn't me. I was trying to keep it within an hour. We're over an hour now. So let's just shut this up too. We don't need it. I sort of have a favorite Chatterbait rod for everything, and then one that I'm learning to like for everything also. So I'll just show you guys this one. You guys have already seen it. I'm really starting to like this new Lose, of all things, the KVD jerkbait rod. And that's just the Hyper Mag on it. You guys have seen that before. So I got it rigged up, but I'm telling you that 6'10" medium heavy basically. So you just got to find the right medium heavy. My favorite probably rod of all time is still maybe, just because it's so easy to, like, they stayed pinned, it seemed like, was a Carbon Light 2.0 6'9" medium heavy. But I'm thinking I like this rod like just as well, maybe better. But then this rod is a more versatile for other stuff, because just like what it says for jerkbait, it works real good for jerkbaits. It's got this short handle for me. I cast right, switch, and reel right too. So that part, and then using it as a jerkbait rod, it works very well. So I'm really liking that rod, comfortable, everything. But it still don't really hold a candle to this thing as far as just lightweight, power, everything. The P5 blade. And then this reel is just hard to beat. That SVTW to Tula. Now you could put a Zillion. You could put probably Metanium if you really wanted to. I had the Zillion, this, and even the new Lose Custom Pro. I stuck on here briefly, but this is still my favorite reel right now. But this is my favorite rod for chatterbaits, and this, if I had to do it all over, this is an 8-1-1, so I think I'd like that. But if I don't know if I'm gonna stick with, I'm thinking about switching some of my stuff instead of 8-5, going to either 8-1 or 7-5-1 for everything other than just straight bottom bouncing stuff. Just because I think the more you slow down, the more you're apt to catch a fish, right? But this combo I just rebuilt, and I figured I'd show you guys since I got it done and I brought them all out. So the BB1, I took that handle off, and I was going to show you on the Super Destroyer. This is by far my worst fishing rod that I own, maybe that I've ever seen for chatterbaits. And I don't know why it's so bad, because it's so good for other stuff like jigs and stuff, the power, but it's got, I wouldn't call it a true parabolic bend, but it does bend like all the way through, but it bends so like power, it has so much power, while that it just sucks for chatterbaits. It is horrible to keep them hooked on with the chatterbait. But what's funny is the Super Destroyer. I love this rod for spinnerbaits. Those SV3 knockoffs, it just feels excellent. I don't know why I like it for one and not the other, but why it holds them, keeps them pinned on the spinnerbaits, but totally not on the chatterbaits. Even if you try to kind of do that lighter weight chatterbait deal, you know how they're gonna. It's not good. But I got this out. Like I said, I took that. They had it, I think, over full. I didn't worry about filling it all the way up. It's got crazy amount of 20-pound braid that I cast it as far as you're going to need to cast, and I don't think it'll take half the spool. This thing has a crazy big spool in it. It's kind of a bigger reel overall, but it feels pretty good. It comes with the drag clicker. I put the crazy Lose Lady handle on it. It came with this. I bought it used on eBay for, what did I get for this? 130. And then, I don't know, it was more than that after they charge you tax of all things to buy something. That's ridiculous. It's like going to the Super Flea and charging people tax to sell their merchandise to other people. And it's like, oh, Charlie, everybody's got to pay. Shut up. We're going to fix that. Not everybody is going to pay for all that stuff anyway. That's a little bit of a stretch for that. I'll probably end up putting that on my Elite TI and putting this other funky one on this one. So anyway, that's what's going out. And if these are also on AliExpress, still, they weren't too bad. I do recommend buying them with a little bungee deal to stick on your reel. Otherwise, that's why I got this for, to wrap the ones that don't have it all the way around, because they're like, boom, when I put them in the back of Charles' truck or boat. Medium, moderate, fast. Yeah, I don't like, the mediums are a little too soft for me, but medium, moderate, fast. I honestly, I got to try it again tomorrow, but the medium plus on the Poison Adrena, I just feel it's lacking a little bit than like these medium heavies on the, also the Elite TI, I don't think I'm going to like quite as well. For whatever reason, that Signature Series KVD one just feels excellent for chatterbaits. The blade feels excellent. That Carbon Light 2.0 6'9" medium heavy, just flat out, like, I can remember fishing it and be like, oh, I didn't set the hook that good on that fish, and just get the fish in. Like, it stuck chatterbait fish, and that's kind of how both of these rods are. The Super Destroyer is the total opposite. You're like taking your time, you kind of lean into it and just give it that little, like that should have got it, right? You gave it a little second, and it just, boop, they spit it out. And you're like, what is going on? So, yeah. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Stay tuned. Be looking forward to, I'll try to do a live stream tomorrow night. Maybe we'll drink a little more Fireball. Yeah, and if it's working, it keeps them pinned, because I also tried this rod. Now, at first, I love this rod. Let me talk about it real quick. I forgot all about it. I'm not taking it out tomorrow because it's a little bit tip heavy, and I don't know. But I did, when I had this rod out, this is the other one, the 7-foot power medium action moderate, right? Now, this rod works, and actually feels very good. And the first chatterbait fish were excellent on it, and then I started missing a few. But I don't know if they, I was trying different chatterbaits, so maybe the color was a little off. And I'm going to give it another shot, because this actually flings a chatterbait, and it feels good. It doesn't feel quite as good as a 6'10". Like, I don't have quite as much confidence in it, but it feels pretty good. It's definitely a little more tip heavy, but the fact you can throw, rattle traps, like but you can with others too. But square bills and red eye shad, any of your rattle traps. So I'm not done with it. I'm taking like 10 rods tomorrow, and probably don't have room for them. So this one is not going. I was going to put the Zillion back on it, but I didn't. But anyway, be looking forward to tomorrow night and hear what happened, what I did on my stuff I did and didn't like, what I did or didn't catch them on. So thanks for watching, guys. Get out, go bass and bonsai, but whatever you do, make sure you have fun doing it. I'm out.